Alright, so I'm going to start this video off with kind of something I thought was cool about the modeling process that Frontier uses here, and of course it makes sense and it's the best way of doing it, but they have a separate model for the interior of the ships and a separate model for the exterior of the ships. So what that means is when you're in the ship, you have a high resolution texture setup, you've got fairly high polygon meshes that are in here, and everything looks pretty good. When you go outside the ship, in order to save on GPU horsepower, they've kind of included the bare minimum. So what you can see outside the ship, like the pylons on the top edge there, they're kind of high resolution. They have some good textures on them. They have some emissive lights and things like that. But as you kind of zoom out, you'll see that the rest of the ship is very low polygon. It doesn't look really good. It's not something that you'd want to see when you're in the game. Something I thought was kind of cool about this specific one here is someone at Frontier took the time in the texture to handwrite the word secret on the side of the ship. So shout out to the guy at Frontier that took the time to write that on the ship. That was kind of cool. You can't see it from inside the ship, and since it's a separate model for the exterior of the ship, you won't be able to see it on the exterior of the ship either. So the only way you're really be able to see this is by ripping the models out. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So next I'm going to take us into VRChat, where I've got this currently loaded right now in the community labs, and kind of walk you through the inside of the Faulcon DeLacy Krait MkII. Alright, first just a little bit of housekeeping here. So when you get into VRChat, in order to find this Krait MkII, you're going to have to go into your settings and make sure that you have Show Community Labs checked off. This is something that VRChat puts in place to make sure that anything new that may be offensive doesn't make it into the mainstream unless it's been reviewed enough times. So the Anaconda that I put up before this, that's now in mainstream, so you don't have to have Show Community Labs checked off for that. But in order to find this, it's currently new. So you go into Worlds and you go Search. Krait. And here it is. You can see it's got the green Community Labs icon on it, so we can go there. So here we are inside the Faulcon DeLacy Krait MkII. So this, as you saw in the Unity model, this is literally just the bridge, so there's not a lot to it here. Let's turn my mouse setting down a little bit so I'm not so jerky. So I'll just give you a quick kind of tour here. So you've got all the displays. This is actually inverted when I first put the model in here, so I have a feeling in the actual game, I haven't tried to get there, this is actually mirrored, so I've corrected that in here. And these are floating as well, so you can kind of see on some of these at least, like this display over here, there's alpha texture on there, so there's transparency, or alpha transparency, I guess. There's some glass in use on this. One of the things I thought was kind of cool is there's a Rubik's Cube inside the compartment on the side here and a water bottle. I've tried to make this look like it's kind of moving on a something with atmosphere. So you see I've got the ocean here, you probably noticed that before, and I've got some texture on the windows here. Basically this is a shader that takes what's on the outside. I think it does it frame by frame as well, so it takes the frame and then it kind of bends the light around it to make it look like water and then moves it along. It took some work to get this to work together with the ocean down there. Tried to find an ocean with some white caps on it, but of course, I'm pretty new to this and I'm using as many free assets as I can find, so that's some free water. This was a tutorial for the water drops, grab the rain from somewhere. Unfortunately, VRChat doesn't support volumetric clouds right now, so the clouds on here are actually 2D particle clouds. So this is just multiple slices of 2D cloud on there that you put enough of it together and you make it move, and it kind of looks like the ship is moving forward here. A few things that I thought were interesting on this is the use of duct tape in the ship. So there is some duct tape on the front holding the wire on here. If I go over here, there is some additional duct tape holding the wires down. It's a good duct tape texture they have on there. The other one is the weight limit. So all over this ship it says max weight 56.56. I don't know what the reference is for that, or whether it's in tons or what that means, but it's written on all sorts of things in here. And the use of the Faulcon DeLacy logo there is sort of extensively used all over the ship as well, which is interesting. All the way to the coffee maker in the back here. You can see it on the kind of cup holder things on the bottom there. It's on the back of the coffee maker there. It's on the wall over here. So they've kind of got it everywhere. It's on the faces of the front of the displays here. There's the little Faulcon there. So it's kind of all over the place in here. You can see there's more glass storage bins on this other side here. Another cup holder on there. The text isn't overly high resolution, so it's not really easy to read a lot of what's on here, but I did note that specifically on the one over here, it references a Commander Peter, or a Commander, I think it's Peter. If I open up the actual texture, you can see a little bit better, but it's still pretty unclear. It's also cool, they've got kind of a little Krait model on the side here. Interesting ship. I've been kind of doing some Thargoid hunting lately, and this is the first time I've been in the ship, so I thought it was kind of a nice looking interior. They've done a really good job over and above some of the older ships like the Anaconda. Just a lot more detail in here. So I thought it'd be cool to make this so you could walk around inside. It's the same chair that I had in the Anaconda. You can go up to it, you can sit down in it, you can look around. I tried to get the cloud to be low enough that it kind of had an effect that it went over the pylons like that, just to make it a little bit more interesting. As a result of that, I haven't bothered to correct it, but there's a little hatch that's just above the other seat here. It looks like it's on fire in there because the clouds sort of go through that, because they just sort of go right through the ship. The other one is on the outside of the ship here. You can hear the rain, you can see the rain, and there is actual particle rain. You can kind of see it across the water there. It's up in the air as well, but it's a lot harder to see with the sky backdrop there. But I just thought it was kind of a cool effect having the rain on the windows over the ocean here. I'm pretty new to Unity and Blender and 3 Studio Max and all of the software that I'm using for ripping and things like that. So just kind of do my best to find as many free assets as I can and put it together as best I can. There's not a lot of actual lights in the scene here. There's one kind of directional light that's the sun out there. I've kind of angled it the same direction to try to get your shadow to set up to kind of match where the lighting is. I've got some real-time lights that are inside here as well, because those are in the actual ship. And everything else is just baked emissive lighting. So all of these lights along the side here are all baked in. All of the emissive textures on the ship back here, those are all just baked in. So if you're interested in checking it out, like I kind of showed you at the beginning there, that's how you find it. Pop in, have a look, and send me any feedback. All right, thanks a lot.